Hello, welcome to our Seaward PATMobile webinar. So my name's Kevin Smith, I'm the Category Manager for Test and Measurement Equipment at Seaward. I've been with Seaward about 3 years in my current role and probably about 6 years in total. As Category Manager for Test and Measurement, I'm responsible for all product development within the sort of PAT portfolio, 18th edition testers, high voltage, solar, all those sort of things. So I've been lucky enough to be working on the PATMobile app, hence why I'm here to talk to you today. Now, for those of you who haven't connected with me before, I'm actually quite active on Facebook and on LinkedIn. So again, please look me up, connect with me on there if you have any questions or anything like that in the future. Please feel free to drop me a line. We always love to get direct feedback. So the webinar agenda for today, we're going to start off with a brief overview of the PATMobile Solution, just to give you an idea of the overall solution, how it fits in with the Seaward testers, the app, the peripherals, and all those sort of things, and how it all fits together. Then we're going to have a look at actually using the app to record inspection and test results. We're going to have a look at the label printing options available. We're going to look at how we save results and how we create reports and what the reports look like. And then at the end, I'll stay on and I'll answer your questions as we go. So the aim of the webinar is really to be a quick overview of it and actually show you how the things work, and then obviously be able to answer your questions. Now, please feel free to type in your questions in the chat box as you're going through, and I'll try and answer what I can as I'm going. However, generally we do more of the questions at the end. And anybody I don't get time to get through the questions while we're actually doing the webinar, I'll interact with you on a one-to-one basis, and I'll stay on afterwards, and we'll make sure we get all those answered. So let's get on with it. So the PATMobile Solution, how does it actually fit in? How does it all work? So we've got the tester. So obviously you can't do PAT testing without the PAT tester. And the solution, the app, is generally designed to work with our manual range of testers, our prime test products. And the reason we call them manual testers as opposed to downloading testers is you have to store the results manually. You have to write them out or type them into a spreadsheet or whatever from that side of things. So generally, this is where the app comes in. The app is there to give you a better way of being able to record the results and also to use things like barcode scanning, printing, photographs, all this sort of stuff. So you can see we've got the prime test products. So that could be a prime test 50, prime test 100, or a 250/250 plus. And we've got the app. So there's no connection or anything like Bluetooth or anything like that between the tester and the app at the moment. What we've got is the app is a way for you to manually record the data. So you type the data into the app as you go, but it is quite quick, and you'll see as we go through that it's quite a fluid process. With the app, that enables us to take pictures using the camera on the phone. We can also scan in barcodes. So we can scan the normal code 39 barcodes or things like QR codes. Now we can actually use the Seaward QR codes, and the Seaward QR codes that would be generated by an Apollo tester actually contain more data. So they've got things like the site, the location, asset description, all that sort of stuff. So if you have done some testing or somebody else has done some testing with an Apollo, the app will enable you to scan that data in. You can't print QR codes with this app. But you can actually scan the data in and use it that way around. So if somebody's done the testing, they've already used those labels, you can use this as a way of scanning that data in. So we've got the app. The app can then connect to a Bluetooth printer, so like our Pro or our Elite 2 printers. So you can actually print the labels, and then you can output your data in either a PDF report or as a CSV, as a spreadsheet. And we can talk a little bit more about that as we go through. So the app at the moment is available on Android, so from the Google Play Store. We've just this week been looking at the beta for the iOS version, so that will be released imminently. We're looking for that to be released in February. So for those Apple users, the iOS version will be coming very soon off the back of that. The other thing with the app is obviously we are constantly developing this, and the more feedback we get. This app's probably been out 6 weeks now, and we've got several hundred users already. And we are starting to get feedback through, and then we can build that into our development process and just keep making it better and better and better, really. So the more feedback we get, the more users we get, the better we can make this for you and the better solution it will be. So that's very much how it works. We have the manual tester. We enter the results into the app stores the data, the app prints, scans, takes the photographs, and then outputs either a PDF report or the data in the form of a spreadsheet of a CSV file. So, recording your results, how do we actually use the app? How do we get the app working? Well, obviously one of the things we have to do is an initial setup to make things work. So if I just bring up my mobile phone, that's not my hand, luckily you'll see my nails aren't that pretty. So we've got the app there, and the way the app works, we've got the red band across the bottom, and we've got sort of results, we've got dashboard, we've got the test screen, we've got list of our customers, and we've got the settings screen. So when you very first turn the app on, when you first install the app, it'll ask you to go through an initial setup and put things in like your name, your company details, and all that sort of stuff. The reason for that, it's very similar to this screen here. When we do the reports, it includes all that data in and things like that, and things like your company logo. So the more you can include on there, the better your reports will look, and it just keeps all that data in there for you. And just makes everything look better. The other thing you can do is you can enter a signature, which again comes up on the reports. So you can do that and save a signature in there as well, and again that comes up on the reports. So part of your initial setup is go through and do that setup. The other thing that you'll see on the settings screen is actual Bluetooth setup. So if you are using a Bluetooth printer, you just need to do a search on there, find that device, and just make sure that the device is actually listed and paired up on there and everything's working fine. So that's really your initial setup that you need to do. Now, obviously, before we can do testing, what we need to do is we actually need to do some setup of the actual test setup, really. So this is my test setup. This is where I've got it. Obviously, just get rid of the mobile phone off the top there for you. So what you can see on here is you can see that we've got simple, in this case I'm just going to do a simple class 1 kettle. So we've got the kettle, we've got the printer, we've got the app, and we've got, in this case, a PrimeTest 250 Plus, 250 device. And I've connected up the test lead to the earth metal parts inside the kettle, the element, and we've made sure that the tester is on. Now, for the purposes of this as well, I have carried out a visual inspection on this, so I know visually it's fine. And obviously that's an important part of any test process, so I'm not going to bore you with me going through that now as part of the process, but I've done that in advance, so we can take that as read that the visual side of things is okay. So if I just move on to the next slide. So what we want to do is we actually want to just start and look at doing the testing now. So if I bring the mobile screen back up again. As I said, on here we've got various options for doing various things. We've got results, we've got dashboards. In this case, new tests are the one we want, the one in the middle with the little plus sign on there for new tests. And basically, we can then go through and actually enter in the data that we need. So first things first, I'll just bring up, this was the label that's on the kettle. There's already a label that's on the kettle there. There's an asset label, so we know that the asset number is 002. So in this case, if I just put that in as 002, done. And it'll say, I found an asset in the database because it was tested before. Would I like to link it? Well, yes, I would. So again, we've linked that data in. What was it? It was a kettle. And the customer was Seaward. The site was our office at Peterlee. It was in the meeting room, and then all I need to select off here really is the test type. Now the test type we've got on here is class 1, class 2, a lead test, an RCD test, or a visual only. So this is class 1, so we're in a class 1 test and we select that. That then moves on to the visual inspection screen, so I can either mark these items separately or I can do pass all, to actually pass all of those items if they're all okay. I then move down to the test part of this. Now obviously this is where I'd go over to the tester and I'd perform the test on the tester. So hopefully if I click again, we should see the results that we've achieved from the tester. So there we can see the earth continuity, the insulation resistance and the leakage. that's come up on the tester there. So in this case, all I need to do is just actually enter those results in. So cable resistance, I can do resistance calculator on here. So the cable size for the kettle was 0.75 and the length of it was actually 1 meter. So we can apply those limits and it puts those in. The earth bond in this case is 0.09. Next. The insulation 19.99. Next. And the leakage 0.1. Done. So we've put those details in. All of those details are in, and that's just gone straight off the screen the tester when we've done the test. Now the next bit down here is we can actually set the retest period. So the retest period we can set in manually, or again we can tap the button and it allows us to do a risk assessment. So we pick the environment. So in this case it was in an office, and the type of equipment is portable. So it's filled those in for us, and we just apply that and it gives us the details on there. And then all I do is move down to the bottom and then I hit the tick. Now it says, do I want to print a label? So I can actually say, yes, I want to print a label. And my label is actually printed out there. You might have heard the noise. And do I want to print another one? So maybe I want one for the kettle and the base. So I could print another one if I wanted to there. I won't. And then we're back. And then if I go over to results, we can actually see the tests that have been carried out. So there was a test I carried out earlier and the test that we've just done on the item there. And if I tap on that, we can actually see there's the results that I've carried out, and that's the test on there. And if I want to reprint a label or I want to retest, I simply just tap on those buttons at the top there, and I can do that straight away. That's straightforward. So hopefully you can see how easy it is to actually go through and just use the app for doing basic testing and saving the results. Now, other things that we can do on here, obviously with the items we can search the data that's in there. We can have a look at the dashboard, and the dashboard will actually give us a list there of compliance, how many things are compliant, how many sites are compliant, and all these sort of things. So it gives us some data that we can actually look at and when the next items are due for retest as well. And if it's due for a retest, I can simply tap on it and it'll bring that up for a retest. So again, some quite useful data on there and quite useful workflows. Customers, again, we can actually add customers in and we can add sites. So we can put customer details in, site details, and all those sort of things in there if we want to. So again, that just gives us more details for our reports. So again, worth getting all these things set up on there. Now, just moving forward, the next bit we talked about was printing labels. So printing labels, you probably heard that my printer was whirring away there. I've actually got the camera on the printer, so there's the printer and it's printing labels. So if I want to say print another label, I can just tap on the item and then at the top I just press print. And you'll see we get the label out. So generally the labels that we print on the Pro printer are the smaller size labels, the 25mm labels, and the data that you get on there you can see. So we get status, pass, who tested it, last test, next test, we get a barcode and we get the asset ID. So quite a straightforward label. We've tried to keep it quite simple and quite straightforward, but obviously later on we have got room for development in the app to include different layouts, different formats and things like this. But at the moment, that's what we've got. So it's a standard 25mm labels with the Pro printer. So label printing, dead straightforward really on there. And I say if we want to print another one, it's quite easy to go through and we just print it off straightforward like that. So it does work with the Pro printer, and that's the option really at the moment with the Android app. And I say when the iOS app comes out, again the Pro printer will work for that. So if I just turn that camera off. So again, what we want to have a look at now is just the reporting process, how we do the reports, how we do the CSVs, and actually how we import that into PATGuard. So first thing, if I was going to do a report, I go onto my results, and I pick what I want to report on. So if I want to report just on one item, so I'll just click on that item, and then I can do export. And then it says, what do I want to export it to? Do I want to do a PDF? Do I want to do a CSV? And do I want to attach those to an email? So if I just went for a simple PDF, it'll create that. It'll launch my default PDF viewer. And in that case, there we go. I've got my report there. And you can see that I can actually just browse my report and have a look at it on the screen. And we should see in the bottom corner somewhere, hopefully, you'll see we've got the signature that I added in, and my name is on there. So again, that's quite straightforward, and if I wanted to share that, I simply just tap share and I can send that straight to the customer there and then, and it's all done with a few clicks straight on the app. Obviously you want to save that and then email it later and all those sort of things, you can do that. And obviously if you want to do more detailed reports, that's it. But you can see the report layout. We've only got one report layout at the moment on the app. This is the report, but I think you'll agree it's quite comprehensive. It's got all the details on there, the test results, the pictures, and all that sort of stuff in there. So it's quite a comprehensive and I think quite a professional looking report. And obviously at the top where we've got the Seaward logo on there, you'll be able to put your logo to personalise these a little bit more as well. So that's quite good from that side of things. Now the other option, as you've seen on there, is there we go. The other option you saw on there was that we could generate a CSV, a spreadsheet. Now CSV, if I just remove the mobile phone for a moment. CSV just creates a simple spreadsheet. So you can see there, this is a CSV export that's come there. It's a simple spreadsheet, and what it does there is it gives you the details, all the details we put in, and this is just a standard CSV file that we would use for importing into PATGuard, for example, or if you want to just keep that and be able to alter it and mess about with it. It's there. So if you want to do different reports, or you want to do a pivot table based on it, or any of those sort of things, or you want to put like colour on there, conditional formatting, anything you can do, it's a spreadsheet, all the data's there for you. So having the CSV output means that it's a good way of being able to get your data out, and if you want to do reports off that and I say put it into Word documents or anything you want to do, then obviously the being able to get the data out in that format is a big step forward from having to write it down by hand. Now, the other thing people have asked about is PATGuard 3. So we've got PATGuard 3. How do we get the data into PATGuard for those of you who are PATGuard users? PATGuard is Seaward's pat testing software, reporting software, and it all revolves around a pat testing database, and then how would you bring that in? So if you're using maybe Apollo testers for some of your testing and using PATMobile app for other things, how do I get that data in? So the way we do that is we use the CSV function to do that. So we've got a database in here, it's a blank database, and I simply go to transfer data, import CSV, and then the CSV file that I've transferred from my phone, either by email or by download cable or however we've done it, memory stick, onto my PC, and I simply just click on the PATMobile CSV output. So it's just a CSV file, a spreadsheet, open that, and it imports it in, and we can see there that we've actually got a site called Seaward with two locations, and we've got the details of the items that are there. And if I click on those items, we can see the details, the test dates, and all those sort of things have been transferred through. So really easy, again, to get your data into PATGuard using a CSV. Unfortunately, things like pictures won't come through because it's via a spreadsheet. Obviously, future developments we're looking at is to change the output format so it'll just bring all the data through and things like that. But on this initial development, we just use the CSV. We can bring the data in. If you want to add photos on and things like that, obviously you can do that manually with PATGuard. So you can just add a photo on if you want to, add an attachment, and add your photos on afterwards to any of the sites, locations, or the equipment. So you can actually do all that functionality within PATGuard, and then you can use PATGuard's reporting facility to actually create reports and things like that based on it. So PATGuard is a useful part of the solution, actually, that for those of you who want to take the reporting and things like that to a new level, or people who are actually interested in having the options available to you to do more, or to use a mixture of Apollo testers with things like your prime tests as well. So maybe if you're going out on certain sites, you just want to take a prime test with you, use the app to capture that data. Whereas if you go into different sites, maybe where there's more equipment, or it's a bit of a like an office environment where you want to really get through your tests and there's a variety of equipment, you'll be using your Apollos. So it gives you those options really, and that's quite a good mixture of what we've got really from that side of things. So that said, now really we move over to the questions. So I'll open it up, and I'll take any questions on what you've seen, or anything else that you want to see more on there. So thanks for listening, and I'll open it up to your questions now.